Welcome back to Inside Eastern Utah. We have a special episode today with Christine Watkins. We are talking about the past legislative session and all that happened. We just hashed out some of the bills that Christine headed, and now we're going to talk about some of the maybe financial side, and we kind of are going to dive right in. It's called the Bill of Bills. Can you tell us what that is, Christine?
The Bill of Bills is what funds all the bills that need funding,
Yes.
the money in order to move forward. And so it's a moving target right up until about the second or third day before we get out of the
Yes.
session, and that's when we actually
Trying to
vote
tie
on
everything
it.
up.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it is not a unanimous vote because sometimes people don't like what we're funding, or that's just the way they are.
Of course.
They just don't want to do that. But one of the things that happened this year that I was very happy about was when the first time I went into this the House of Representatives, it was 2009, and we had just gone in deep into that recession,
Yes.
that awful recession. And so I go in, and I'm sitting on committees, and we're taking money away from committees and saying we need 10-15% of your budget back
Yeah.
because we don't have it.
Yep.
And we don't want to go over that cliff as a state that may take us forever to come back
out of.
from. And fortunately for us, years before I got there, they started a rainy day fund in the legislature. And so we had money in that rainy day fund, and we actually did have to use that money to fund general
things
going and in education. In fact, I filed a bill that allowed small rural districts to use their maintenance, or not their maintenance, but their capital outlay that they usually use for buildings for maintenance and operation if they needed to,
Yes.
because we were not going to give them the money we said we were going to.
Yes, and they needed to keep things
And they
going.
needed to keep things going. So we used a lot of money, and ever since then, since about 2012, they've started putting money back into that fund, but only $4 or $5 million a year, and we use.
Which might sound like a lot,
But
but
it's
once
not.
you get all these bills and all
No.
these things that need to be funded, that does not go far.
It's not very far. So this year, when we had our Republican caucus, one of the things they proposed to us was, the governor has proposed $5 million to go back into that rainy day fund. They said, it's not enough. We know we're going to have another recession. We don't know when, but we need to be prepared again, because look how vibrant Utah is, because we were able to come out of it much faster than many other states. And so we put back $85 million.
Wow.
Yes, into that fund, and it was on top of $34 million that went into reserves because of a statutory requirement during the summer. So that made me happy, because some of the representatives that were there with us were brand new. They were not there during that recession. They have no idea what it was like to say to all of the districts and to the state people that are working and that we need money back.
Yeah.
You're not going to have it. You're either going to have to lay off people, don't replace them if they retire, offer incentives to have them retire.
Of course.
So that was really one thing that I really, really liked. And then we bolstered our working rainy day fund by appropriating $67 million in above trend ongoing revenue to building. So we're always funding buildings at universities.
Of course.
And so by doing this, we actually paid ahead.
Oh,
So
getting ahead of the game now.
We actually we're hoping not to have to borrow money to bond, because we're able to pay money ahead now. And so to me, that shows fiscal responsibility. And we owe that to the people of the state of Utah, to take it, not just say, oh, look, we've got all this money, let's spend it.
Yes.
No, let's use it
Be smart
wisely.
about it. Well, just think in your own household, you do the same thing.
You hope.
Yep. You hope that you can have some stuff in the rainy day, and
Yes.
you try not to spend everything the second you get it, so it just makes sense to do that on a larger platform.
Yes, and the state definitely benefits from us doing that. And then we did even something that we didn't have to do last summer in our appropriations subcommittees. We were told to, we used two terms, scrub them or sweep the corners to find where our money is being spent in that committee. Can we cut? Can we save?
Can we consolidate?
Can we do things to help with that? And we came up with $69 million.
Wow.
And the committee that I'm on, we don't have much to begin with. So
Yeah.
we did save a little, but not much of that came from my Natural Resources Committee. But we did manage to save some. So that money was something that we could keep in our general fund and in our education fund. And then we learned that we were going to have in February an additional $126 million ongoing and $83 million in one-time new general and education fund revenue. So, and that was on top of money that came, $85 million that came from the federal windfall because of the taxes and things that we changed. So we had to rebalance our tax system. They brought out a stool where one leg had been cut off, and our tax system has been going like this. We have the two stools here, or two legs here, and one's just getting shorter and shorter. So we bolstered that, and that was with our education. And so we were able to give education, again, a nice increase.
And I know people are always wondering about the education,
and we
so
put,
that's always...
The big issue is how much do we just put on the WPU or do we give it as bonuses? And education wanted it in the WPU.
And
so
for people that don't know, what does that
that
mean?
it's a weighted pupil unit.
Okay.
And then so it goes to the district by how many students they have, and then the district and the teachers and the classified people, they negotiate how much is going to go where.
Okay.
And so how much is going to go into salaries, how much will go into just the maintenance and operations or capital outlay,
Of course.
et cetera. So there's a lot of things and places that money can go. We gave state and higher education people a 2.5% raise, which is not huge, but it's a raise. And then they don't have to pay for the 4.1% increase in their health premiums.
Oh, okay.
That still boosts that 2.5% a little bit more because they don't have to pay more in their premiums. So I really like doing that. And we funded Medicaid enrollment growth. That's a huge one. We have a lot of people who need help from Medicaid, and Medicaid is for people who are struggling financially and also in their health issues. And so we were able to do that, and I really appreciated that. And then we gave $2.5 million to the Rio Grande Fund, cleaning up that area.
That's been a hot topic.
It was something that desperately needed to be done. My first year back there, I traveled down by that area and went, oh, I don't think I'm going to go this way anymore. It was scary. It was not safe. Obviously, they had people killed there. And the way they cleaned it up, did it solve all the problems? No. But to me, it was certainly a huge step.
Yes, a very good start to be on the right direction.
Yeah, to what they needed to be doing. And then we had such huge wildfires last year, we had to pay $20 million as our part. Now, the federal government paid a big chunk, but our part was $20 million.
Yes.
So it's paid.
Great.
Yeah, we're not funding that or doing anything like that. So anyway, we did really well with that. And for some of the buildings that we had for higher education, we just paid cash. That was part of that money. I told you it's done. And so we really like it. And then it appropriates $46 million in a debt service savings to pay cash for that new prison that's being built. And of course, the price of that's going up a little bit. And we really hope if things will stay the way they are, we won't have to bond for that new prison. And everything that this does just helps Utah so much.
Of course. And you had some great help this year as well. You had an intern, and she is a local girl. Can you tell us a bit about her?
Her name is Lacey Meyer, and I actually met her during the summer at the Rural Summit with her mom.
Yes. Which is Jerry Gamber.
Which is Jerry
over
Gamber.
at the Association of Local Governments.
Right, and they were saying how interested she was in government, and I said, well, you ought to become an intern. And so I told them a little bit about it, and then I totally forgot about it. Didn't even, because that was my first time to meet Lacey, and so it was just in and out. And then I get notified that I have this intern, and her name is Lacey Meyer, and I didn't remember
It didn't
her
click.
name. Did not click. So then when I realized who she was, I was ecstatic. Yay.
Yes.
And we just clicked. She was my right-hand gal and helped me with so much, and was such an excellent intern. Remember, she's the 6th one I've had.
Yes.
And with my husband having surgery right after the session, she is now my campaign manager.
Yeah, must have liked her if you kept her around a little bit.
I've got her.
Huh?
She is just wonderful, and to think that she's one of ours.
Yes, and she has great plans coming. She's going to be your campaign manager, and then has some other fun stuff lined up. You want to tell us about that?
Working for Congressman John Curtis, 2 days a week, starting in May during the summer, and then in the fall she gets to go back to Washington, D.C.
Yes, and she is a young gal too. She's younger than me. I went to school with her actually, and she is a bright, sweet girl.
Yes,
and
she is. She knows what she wants.
Yes, and she must have learned a lot and liked it being your intern to keep going.
Yeah, and she would tell me, "Wow, I've never seen anybody do this like you. You're just great." And I'm like, "Oh, really? Thank you." Because you have your own style of working, and she had watched other people do things, and she was pretty impressed.
Great, and it's so great that you could have an intern that was from this area and really kind of understood the issues that you were fronting and going against, and really understood and clicked in that way.
Well, and I'm the only rural woman up there, and they know that rural is my passion.
Yep.
And so here is my sidekick.
Yes.
And she
with the
is
same
passion, and so it was a perfect match, and we both had a great time.
Oh, fantastic. Well, it sounds like it was a great session.
It was.
If you had anything to say to kind of leave us off with the overall success or what you think of that session, what would it be?
Well, I just think we accomplished many good things. There wasn't a ton of controversy. We were working on solid issues that helped Utah, and the relationships that I had and how we worked together. I was so pleased with what we did, and I was even more pleased to hear that the governor gave us an A. Now I know not everybody did, because we just can't make everybody happy, but knowing that we did that with the governor, that was like a little cherry on
top of the session, right? Well, thank you so much for the work you're doing for the area and for taking a few minutes to kind of hash it all out and update us. You can follow Christine online. She has a Facebook page that you can stay updated on the work she's doing and all that stuff. So thank you so much, Christine.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
And thank you for joining another episode of Inside Eastern Utah. We have more of your favorite programming coming up next on ATV Channel 10.